Hi, welcome to Comic Talk. I'm Joshua.
And I read this.
Good job. That's probably good. It's a good way to prepare. We are doing a trade review on Wolverine and X-Men Volume 1. This is Aaron, Bacallo, and Bradshaw. Cue the music thing. Okay, welcome back from that short interlude.
Yeah, so usually I do like the plot summaries and stuff. Mm-hmm. I feel like maybe you would be better to do this one because I think there's a lot of backstory that I don't really know that sort of led up to this.
Sure, I don't know if it's that important, but I mean basically the X-Men have fallen apart. Mm-hmm. They've gone and started this whole X-Men Island thing. They've gotten really aggressive and reclusive.
So that's what the Cyclops thing was.
Right, everybody knows the X-Men movie stuff where they're being persecuted, right? Mm-hmm. So if you take that to its logical conclusion, imagine what would happen after, say, 5 or 10 years of that. They kind of give up and the world hates them, blames them for all the problems, right? So that's basically where we're at with it. So they're gone, but then Logan or Wolverine decides, nah, that's not cool. We need to do, the school thing. It's the right thing to do. It's what he liked, So
right.
He decides to open the school back up. And that's really what this is just about, right?
Yeah, the Jean Grey School.
Yeah, the Jean Grey School for Gifted Mutants or whatever. So it's him and Kitty Pryde and Iceman and some other people, Beast.
Yeah, Beast is a big part of it.
Running the school again. They bring in a bunch of new students and it's kind of a comedy, right? Really, for me, the first part of this, or at least the first issue, is about them trying to get board certified, right? All the fighting and stuff is kind of just a trope to throw in to say, to cause a problem or to throw a monkey wrench into them getting their funding.
Sure.
And just a way to kind of walk around and show everybody and how everybody reacts to things. So I don't think we need that much more of a...
No,
here's what it's
good.
about. So what did you think of it? Did you like this? This was one that I wanted to read. Mm-hmm. And mostly that's because Doctor Strange, right? Aaron and Bacallo, we like the art, we like the writing. Mm-hmm. Seems fun. I've been wanting you to read something X-Men for a while, so this seemed like a good kind of bridging the gap here.
I think for me, the high point of this was just the characterizations of everybody. I thought Aaron did a really excellent job with that. It kind of goes back to the whole... the plot isn't super, super interesting. I mean, there's some nice little bits here and there, but certainly nothing new. But he definitely takes great care in exploring these characters more than what I'm used to with X-Men. Right,
and I think that's what makes a good X-Men title. I've always felt the X-Men is the best when it's less about the plot and more about the characters. You got Grant Morrison's New X-Men and Joss Whedon's Astonishing X-Men. This stuff is the best when it's about characters and the plot is just the crazy world that happens around them.
Sure.
They're X-Men, so crazy shit happens, but really what's important is their little bonds and how they live together, right? Because they're kind of like a motley crew stuck in this thing together.
Right. And you also get nice little bits about each of their personal difficulties and stuff. Logan, absolutely not feeling like he's cut out for this sort of thing, but he feels like he has to do it. Mm-hmm. And then you have Iceman, who's always been the kid with a lot of potential, and it's okay, it's time to actually do something fucking now, which is a huge pressure for people in that situation. Yeah, stuff like that. I felt kind of bad that Toad got shit on so regularly, but you need that little bit of obvious comic relief, slapstick almost.
Well, and also I think Toad really helps in this series to show how people fall through the cracks. I liked that about having Toad in here because he's sort of sympathetic, right? He's comic relief, but you feel bad.
Yeah.
But nobody's trying to give him a poor lot. It's just
the way
it's worked out because everybody's so busy doing everything that they kind of just miss him.
Yeah, they forget that he doesn't have a bed.
Right, right. They're just so busy, and Toad's so unassuming. Mm-hmm. So this is definitely comedic. Did it make you laugh? I mean, did it?
Yeah.
Did the comedy work?
It was mostly like chuckles. I didn't get like a huge laugh out loud, like I usually do with like Ant-Man or The Fix, Nick Spencer in general. And I really like this Omega Kid Omega, whatever, Quentin.
Yeah,
he was awesome.
I
a lot
agree.
of comic relief.
I remember, to be honest, it's been about a week since I've last read this. I remember the last issue was my favorite part of it. Which was a different artist than Bacallo, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that threw me off.
It wasn't the art that I liked about it. It was just, there was something about the last issue where we went kind of in a different direction for a while and got more into it that makes me want to pick up the next series. So I think that's always a good sign on a book when you read through it and you want to get the next one.
Yeah, because we get an introduction of, this Warren guy. He's apparently like lost his mind and thinks he's an angel now. Yeah, it's interesting.
So artistically, the first three, again, they're Bacallo.
They're better than the last one.
Yeah, it's a lot cooler for these first three issues. It looks a lot like what we've gotten used to, or at least what I have with Doctor Strange. You can see him playing with a lot of these styles. This particular tone of penciling that we ended up getting a lot in Doctor Strange. I think this is the first time I saw him doing this chunkier debris everywhere all the time kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's not even, I can't ever quite, half the time I'm not sure why it's all there. Like there's just a lot of shit happening and you don't really know why, but it's just, I guess for the artistic purpose. Like, it just looks cool to have shit flying around everywhere, right?
Yeah, and it's not as over the top or bold as, like, Doctor Strange is. Because, that one, like, within one page, we get, like, 7 different styles. And, like, it makes no attempt to, like, make them, like, cohesive at all.
Right.
Because that's the point. Whereas here, we get a lot of the same tricks, but there is, like, a cohesiveness to all of it. So, it's definitely reminiscent, I guess, of Doctor Strange, but you can tell that he's going for like a very different tone in this book. But yeah, I think everybody like looks really cool, which is nice. And yeah, when you get to the last issue, it's almost like jarring.
It is.
When you see like Wolverine and he looks all stupid and
yeah, the art really goes downhill, but I like the writing in the last issue quite a lot. So it's a weird trade-off where the story seems to be taking over, where a lot of the footwork was being done on the art side for the first few issues. But I would like to keep reading it, so there's that, it's not completely unsuccessful. And I don't know if Bacallo comes back after this or not.
Cool if he did.
I don't remember.
It'd be a lot cooler if he did. All right.
So I guess overall this is a much lighter X-Men tone than a lot of people are probably used to. Being someone who hasn't read much X-Men, do you feel this is a good place to hop in and try out some X-Men, or not?
Yeah, like I said, I wasn't quite sure, like, on some of the backstory, because they talk about, like, some shit the Cyclops was doing, and, like, this group broke up this group, and now they're coming back, but this guy's in charge, but, I don't think that really hampered my reading experience that much. It's like, okay, well, that's something I don't know about. I would say, if you're comfortable like reading comics and just not knowing some shit that happens sometimes, it's probably a great entry point. If somebody was brand new to comics, I probably wouldn't give them this.
Yeah, for a lot of it, because I haven't read a lot of the new X-Men either, like basically none of it for 4 or 5 years, but I felt like most of it was throwaway. Yeah. Like a lot of the backstory was just peppering it with comic book world. You know what I mean? Like, you could throw in any conflict there, and it was usually just this, I'm here because there was conflict of this sort, or this guy's here because there was conflict of this type, and to me, the details didn't really matter so much, but I have a basic understanding, though, of like the X-Men history over the last 5 years, so maybe that's part of it, why it was relatively easy for me to pick up.
Sure.
But yeah, it doesn't feel to me like any of that's necessarily important. Like, you don't have to know what they're actually talking about, you just need to know that there was something that happened, right?
Yeah, it's not like your proverbial love letter to the X-Men universe or whatever.
Right. In fact, I would say this almost is skewing the X-Men universe. It almost like lampoons it in a way. It's in some ways it's going back to the roots of it, where it's let's get students back in and let's have the dynamic of students and teachers and how they interact and the two
shove
different
Wolverine
worlds.
to the front and
Right.
Yeah.
So in a way, it is reminiscent of sort of classic stuff, but it's not much like anything else modern. You know, it's definitely its own thing.
Yeah, it's not like anything else X-Men that I've read.
Right.
So.
Cool. All in all, it's cheap. It's just a 4-issue series, so you can usually grab it for $5 to $10 most places. You can get it used for next to nothing.
It's marked 15 on the back, but don't fucking pay that.
Yeah,
It's $15 for 4 issues.
Yeah, it's not a thing. I got it at the Hastings sale for $2, I think. So, you know, you can probably have similar results if you just go.
Yeah, find a Hastings. It's going out of business.
Yeah.
Buy this trade.
Yeah, and I mean anywhere you go, it's going to be under $10. So I think that's
Maybe not like Barnes & Noble or Borders or whatever.
maybe
They're
not.
Probably charge.
A lot of times they charge cover price, but if you go anywhere reasonable
Sure.
to buy them, you know, it's usually going to be cheaper. Usually these small books are pretty cheap. Cool. Well,
Facebook, Twitter,
Yeah.
Tumblr, podcast, YouTube.
all of the above. Thanks for listening and watching. Bye now.